Everybody, it's Jim. Welcome back to Great Books, Big Ideas. Day 2 of the library sales. We're in high season for spring library sales, and I am in the county seat of Delaware County, one county east of my county, and this is in Media, Pennsylvania. I used to live in Media for about 5 years. This was back in like the late 80s, early 90s, and me and Stacy lived there. We rented a little one-bedroom flat, and many fond memories of Media. They call it everybody's hometown, and there's some truth to that. It always feels like coming home a little bit when I come to Media. And we're here in the county where I grew up in. I grew up in Marple Township, Broomall, and it's just about like maybe 4 or 5 miles away from here. And so this is all familiar turf. And we're in, Delaware County is kind of famous these days because of Delco. Like, we've got the land of Tina Fey, and Todd Rundgren comes from Delco, and Mayor of Easttown, and on it goes. So we've got some notoriety, for better or worse, coming from Delco. But yeah, it's definitely a special vibe here. Alfie has joined me again for the trip, and he's in the front seat taking a nap again, and I'm really excited. This is I think an even bigger sale than the Chester County big book sale. It is the second day. It's, I think, a half price day, so none of my appetites will be curbed by financial pressure. That could be very dangerous, but also I anticipate the books and CDs and whatnot that I browse for are going to be somewhat picked over, because yesterday I just didn't have the energy to go back out and do another drive. This is about a half hour from home. So we'll see what I can find. It should be exciting, and I'll give an update once I get back out of the library. Hi everybody, I'm back. Yeah, it was a fun browse through the Media library sale. Definitely not as much stuff available on the second day. Things have been drastically picked over. The CD selection was far less than what was yesterday in Chester County, and even on past years at the Media library sale, I would go on a Sunday and there would be a lot more CDs, but there wasn't much. I just picked up about 3 or 4 of those. Again, I'll maybe talk about those on my other channel, Song Tripping. I'll start with the books that I found. So, nothing like super tremendous here, but I did find some stuff, and I'll quickly share them. First is the All Music Guide to Jazz. And this is I used to write for the All Music Guide, their website, and I reviewed primarily pop rock albums, soul, R&B, folk, things like New Age. And I don't know, I did a few dozen album reviews and also song reviews. And every now and then I still come across those, and it's fun to read. But I have the All Music Guide to Rock, and it's a real Bible for me. Even though these books get out of date, they're a great guide to vintage recordings. And if I'm collecting CDs and vinyl, a book like that's a tremendous resource. And yes, I know you can find all this information on the web, but I still prefer paper. I'm old school. I come from the era when we had to look things up in real books, and that's a nice one to keep on the shelf. Or it could be good bathroom reading, or just sort of browsing through and you want to stumble into something. This was a nice find too, Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen in a hardcover. And we listened to this as an audio book, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. So I thought it might be nice to just have that as a memory of listening to Bruce read that book. It's really a well-written memoir. And I've been listening to a lot of Springsteen lately, so that was a nice discovery. This book, it's called Forbidden Knowledge by Roger Shattuck. And this is a book of, sort of like cultural criticism, literary criticism, a landmark exploration of the dark side of human ingenuity and imagination. I've read this one in ebook form. I think I got through the whole thing too, and it was useful. Actually used it a little bit for my teaching last semester. It helped me, and I think it's nice to have a paper copy of it. I'm not sure how long I'll hang on to it, but Roger Shattuck is a very fine, or was a very fine writer, and I've read a few books by him. How about this one, James Thurber, My Life and Times? I partly bought this for the cover because I really like these Bantam modern classic mass market paperbacks, and this has illustrations in it, and it looks nice and short, and the blurb says, My Life in Hard Times is one of the most deeply humorous books of our century, not a memoir that takes into account the crumbling of empires. Rather, it talks largely about small matters and smallly about great affairs. Mostly it's about the wildly incredible things people do when they think they're acting with common sense. Yet after the laughter is finished, Thurber has done more than tickle your risibilities. He has quietly and unobtrusively but permanently deflated your false pride in the essential sanity and prudence of the human race. My father was a big James Thurber fan, and we had several, two or three or four James Thurber books in hardcover from his Book of the Month Club membership back in the day. And I never really read Thurber closely, so I still have those books, by the way. But this one is maybe a nicer point of entry because it's really short. So I think I'll toss that off soon. Then One Penguin Classic, George Eliot, The Mill on the Floss. I have read this before. This was maybe the second George Eliot I read, not in this edition. The first was Silas Marner, I think, but Mill on the Floss, this is a nice copy. There's a chance I have this in the Penguin Classic stowed away, but I don't think so. So I thought for whatever they charged me, 50 cents or $1, it was worth it. And then here's a C.S. Lewis book called The Pilgrim's Progress that I wasn't aware of before. So it's in the style of John Bunyan's classic Pilgrim's Progress. It's the first book C.S. Lewis wrote after becoming a Christian. It's a provocative and moving story which traces one man's search for belief in a fantasy world of dragons and giants. Our pilgrim's incredible journey leads him finally to the West and into the very heart of C.S. Lewis's most profound and personal ideas of progress, enlightenment, and Christian theology. I like C.S. Lewis as a writer, Screwtape Letters. I think it's called On Mere Christianity. I read a few of his theological books. I think one or two of his literary criticism books. And I haven't read Chronicles of Narnia, interestingly. Maybe the first volume. But I think he's a fine writer, and sometimes he lays on the theological stuff a little too thick for me. But very respectable, good prose stylist. I always find him readable, so I might give this a try soon. And then finally, this was one of the big finds of the day for me, maybe because it's a book I wasn't really aware of before. Thomas Mann, Royal Highness. Never heard of this. I thought I knew all of Thomas Mann books. I don't have this one, I know for certainty, in paperback or hardcover. So this was a nice find. Let's see what it says about it. It was first published in 1909. It represents Thomas Mann's effort to lighten the serious and weighty naturalism he had inherited from the 19th century into a work of art at once intellectual and symbolic, a transparency for ideas to shine through. The story of Prince Klaus Heinrich and his marriage to Emma Spolman, daughter of an American tycoon. The novel is set in the German Empire at its height and satirically suggests that the monarchy was ripe for decay. Distinguished from Mann's other works by its picture of high society, a comic love affair, and a happy ending, Royal Highness is, as Richard Winston called it, the perfect little scherzo. So a lighter side of Thomas Mann. Now that would be nice to try out. So yeah, I'll add this to my Thomas Mann shelf, and all those books and about 3 or 4 CDs cost me a grand total of $8.50. This was the Free Library of Media Upper Providence, and they got another sale coming up in October. So if you're in the area, mark your calendars. It's a real good sale. Again, I didn't find as much as I might have if I had gone yesterday, but I'm still happy it was worth the trip. Thanks, folks.